My brother was a weekender, very little young kid, and he was going through a cowboy phase. He so small. He's going through a cowboy phase, and I think Grandpa Board inspired him because he would watch a show called Walker, Texas Ranger. And Grandpa was very into cowboy stuff. That was his jam, was westerns. And so he's just like, I'm gonna be a cowboy. I'm gonna be a Walker, Texas Ranger. I'm gonna be Chuck Norris. I'm gonna catch the bad guys, and I'm gonna be a ranger. And so this little kid, oh my God. So my mom had him decked to the nines. He had a long flannel shirt. He had a little cowboy hat. He had oversized boots because like they used like an old one that they had from a costume. I think from Fatherboard or something, because getting a pair of those boots was too expensive. So borrowing those boots, but it made it cuter because they were so big. And he had his little jeans, and he's got the belt, and he's just a cowboy. He's a cowboy. He want to play cops and robbers, and oh yeah, super cute. But he was missing one thing. I think he also had a lasso, but he was missing one thing. I don't remember any of this. Maybe I was at summer camp. I don't know. He needed a pair of handcuffs that he could put on his belt and pretend to be the sheriff. Oh no. What? Those handcuffs we had for many years. I eventually used it as well, and I handcuffed myself to a tree, and I was there for like 6 hours, and I peed myself, and the key was underneath a rug in the house. But that's besides the point. He needed a pair of handcuffs, and my mom did not know where to get handcuffs. Where do you even get handcuffs? I would probably Google it and be like, I don't know. For a pair of handcuffs, I assume Toys R Us? I don't know. I really don't. She didn't know either. And so she called my grandma. Party City? I don't think it was around all the way back then. She called my grandma. Grandma didn't know either. So they did some exploring. And so the only place she could think of that would have handcuffs was an adult store. So Mother Board, Grandma Board, and Brother Board were in a car, and they drove to the adult store. Grandma Board and Brother Board were eating, I think, McDonald's in the car, and Mother Board braved it, and she went into the store, and she was like, hello, I'm looking for handcuffs. And they're like, well, we have handcuffs. She's like, yeah. And they're like, here's all the handcuffs. And she's like, they're all kind of fuzzy and pink. And Chick's like, oh, okay, we got different ones. And so I think she found like nipple handcuffs or something. It was all these various things. And she's like, I'm looking for a basic pair of handcuffs for my son. And the associate lady is like, and she's like, oh no, it's not like that. It's for like my little son, like he's like a kid. And she went, and before she could say he's playing cops and robbers and he needs cuffs for his belt to like have the look, the lady freaked out and she's like, get out of my store, get out of my store, which is understandable. That's fair. She went back in the car and she's like, okay, they didn't have any. That's a shame. So she's like, Mom, like, where do you get a pair of handcuffs? She's like, I really, like, who has handcuffs? And they're like, police have handcuffs. And they're like, okay, let's find a police officer. So So she calls the police and says, "Hi, where is your building located?" "In this area." And they're like, "Here you go." She's like, "Cool." So grandmother board, brother board, and mother board drive to the police station. And she goes, and she called. She goes to the police station with my brother and them, and she's like, "Hi, I was wondering, I'm looking for handcuffs for my son." And the police go, and the police go, well, one, why? And two, why did you come here? She's like, "I couldn't think of any places that has handcuffs. They kicked me out of the adult store, so I came here." And so, they're like, "Okay, what's the situation?" She's like, "My son wants to be Walker, Texas Ranger. My son wants to be Chuck Norris. I need handcuffs." And so they all found it incredibly funny, and they gave her some handcuffs. And they talked to him about what it's like to be an officer or something. I don't know, but I feel like long ago it would have been much easier to do that, and nowadays it would not be the same sort of results. They even let him sit on their motorcycle and put on the helmet. Which I don't recall Walker, Texas Ranger having a motorcycle, but I'm sure that must have been really exciting for a little kid. Today you can buy handcuffs on Etsy. Well, they didn't have Etsy back then. Yeah, it was a great outcome, but see, also, isn't that absolutely a thing you could, some sort of scenario that you could see me somehow ending up in? A series of very strange misunderstandings and adventures to get something random, and then obtaining it. Thank you. Oh, wait, don't do that sound. It was wholesome, you weirdo. Yes, for sure. Absolutely. 100%. Exactly. When she told me this, I lost my shit. I'm like, that definitely happened. Thank you. Let me move that. I see a number of scenarios with you in handcuffs. Yeah, like when I peed myself and I handcuffed myself to a tree. When I had the handcuffs, because he's like, "I'm over cops and robbers. I'm all about ninjas now." I got the handcuffs, and I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna play magician. I want to be a magician." And so my father board, I don't know why, he put a, like, I don't know, David Blade or something, and I'm like, I'm gonna do the thing where you're handcuffed and you get yourself out of your handcuffs with magic. And I didn't really understand tricks. I just thought it was more of a willpower type of thing. And so knowing me, I'm like, okay, I did a lot of test runs where I put a handcuff on one wrist and I went around the house. I went to the railing on the stairs and I handcuffed myself to it. I handcuffed myself to my shoes. I handcuffed myself to the chairs in the kitchen. I handcuffed myself all over the house, and I had this little key. And I'm like, okay, I figured it out. I understand how handcuffs work. I don't need the key anymore. So I'm like, for my first trick, I will make the key disappear. And I put it underneath a rug, forgetting that when I explained to parents when I'm crying that there's lots of rugs in the house, and I forgot which one it was, that I handcuffed myself to something that is exactly the handcuff size, which was the brand new tree that they had transplanted in front of the house. Understandably, they had to remove that tree. But I'm out there for 6 hours as they frantically search the house for a tiny little key while I'm out there crying and then saying I have to pee, and then saying there's nothing we can do, just like pee yourself and we'll deal with that later. And eventually They give up. It's nighttime. We want dinner. So they remove the tree. They dig it up and let me out. And then I get into the house. And when I walk in, I trip on a rug. And under the rug is the key. And so now I'm holding the key. I'm crying and I smell like pee and I hate everything. The end. And I'm covered in dirt too. You're saying it's a success? No, I didn't believe hard enough. It didn't work. I was stuck to that tree. This is so Melkor. Bro, those handcuffs. They've been around. Many shenanigans. That was actually yesterday, wasn't it? No! It was not yesterday. Thank you for asking.